Good afternoon. I'd like to bring to order the meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission. And the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Mr. Forcell.
Ready? Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, Ms. McGill.
Chair Connor.
Present.
Longstreet.
Here.
Forcell.
Here.
Larimer Hall and Gonzalez and intern Gonzalez are not present.
Thank you. Written communications. I see we have a letter. Oh, any changes to the agenda? Excuse me. Yes. Any changes to the agenda, Ms. Zachary?
Chair Connor, members of the Commission, we would like to take item 7 after item 3. We have Ian Fisher, who's here on behalf of the Parma Trust, who has time constraints.
Okay.
So we'd like to do that presentation.
Yes, okay. Noted. Thank you. And in written communications, we have a letter here from Gary Clark from the Tennis Advisory Committee regarding capital improvements. Is there anything you'd like to add? Thanking the staff for a good job. And we always love to see that.
Chair Connor and members of the Commission, the only thing that I would like to add, in addition to the great work done by Kathy Carpenter and our project management team, is that the tennis lighting project was also funded through Prop 12 money. So it's one of the grant projects that we did complete in the last year.
And I would
Thank you.
say that as a member of the Tennis Advisory Committee, all the members feel similarly to Gary Clark. He is just the best writer among the group and wrote the letter. And we are very appreciative, and as all the tennis community is, that use the public course or the public tennis facilities, and we hope to see a big improvement in the expenses for lighting.
Thank you, Commissioner Forcell. And thank you, Ms. Carpenter and Ms. Rapp and Gary for writing the letter. We appreciate that. Public comment. Any member of the public may address the Commission for up to 1 minute on any subject within the jurisdiction of the Commission that is not scheduled for a public discussion before the Commission. So, seeing no slips for public comment, we'll move to our community service recognition. Ms. Woods.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I would like to introduce to you George and Ruby Glass. And they're right here in the front row, and I know they'll come up to the podium. I'm finished introducing them a little. George and Ruby have been volunteers at the golf course for over 20 years. They do a lot of work for us. They man the tables for tournaments. They have been affiliated with several major tournaments for over 20 years, including the annual City Championship, which is held Memorial Weekend, the annual Golf Classic, which is held the first weekend in August, the Junior Open, which they've been working at more than 10 years. But besides that, the first two, they've been working more than 20 years with those two tournaments. They're also very involved with our Junior Golf, Russ Morrison Junior Golf program, and our annual City Santa Barbara Employees Tournament. And one of the things I mentioned about them is that they are unpaid staff. They've been retired for many years, so they have the time to do this for us. And they're going to go on a little extra trip this summer in August. They're going to take a cruise for their anniversary. And the ship, I didn't mention this in the report, but the ship they're sailing on is the Ruby. So that's a big thing for Ruby and George. And so I'd like to invite them to come up to the podium and say a few words if they like, and the chairman of the commission will give you a certificate.
Welcome, Ruby and George. What can I say? When I read about this, I was so amazed. All the years that you've given to the golf course and the municipal golf is fabulous. And I just want to thank you so much. And in appreciation, the City of Santa Barbara Parks and Recreation Department presents Ruby and George Glass, the 25th day of June, 2008, for over 20 years of volunteer service at the golf club. Thank you so much. Here you go. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for this, because it was a complete surprise. However, when you do something that's so much fun, it's really something special to be awarded for having a lot of fun, which we've had. And I was just telling Nancy that Richard Chavez had gone over to one of the schools, Hope School, and he said, "Hey, Ruby, one of your junior golfers is now a teacher." So I've watched him grow up, and the same with the city championship. Mr. Escobar back there, I worked with his dad when I came to Santa Barbara. So for us, all the volunteer work we've been doing is payback for us too, because our boys enjoyed the Parks and Recreation. When they were little, they played the baseball and he swam, and we've gone to the dances and square dances. So thank all of you on the Recreation Commission, Parks and Recreation, for giving us a wonderful life here in Santa Barbara. Thank you.
Well, go ahead, George.
I get my share of the mic, too. Well, what we have done has been, this is certainly a surprise, because what we do, we enjoy to see these kids grow up and become, I mean, real golfers. And Ruby puts one of the junior golfers on the Russ Morrison program that we have every year. And some of these kids, the teams fall in love with them because they're good golfers. And she put one little gal on the district attorney as a team one day, and they used her drive almost every shot throughout the tournament. Ruby can tell you those names. I can't. I forget them. But we do. We want to thank you for this. It's certainly a surprise. But you know what makes it nice for us is when you recognize things like this. You know, we work with wonderful people at the golf course and on the teams, and it makes us look pretty good. You know, when you're on a good team, even the guys on the bench get rewarded too. But thank you very much, and we'll cherish this.
Yes.
Well, we were reading through here, and I was amazed to see that it's going to be your 66th wedding anniversary. And since Richard Chavez is retiring, as you know, you two are so spry and ready. I wondered if you'd apply for the job to take over for Richard, because we're really searching for
That would be
someone to
great.
fill that position.
Wonderful.
You don't have to give us your answer now. Think it over.
Put in our application.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. I mean, this when I was reading the information myself and I was looking at all of the things you've done and the years added up, I was truly amazed. And bon voyage.
But, you know, I worked for the Santa Barbara School District for 28 years. I didn't retire from that till I was 75. I'm going to be 84 now. And we do and they do it at the community golf course. We do a fundraiser for Franklin School, so we're trying to get a lot of our golfers involved from that school.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Remember Russ Hargrave?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Why don't you move up to
Yeah,
the
come
mic,
up to the
because
mic if no one else can hear.
people at home can't hear you.
When I first came, I was a Marine here at Santa Barbara Airport. And when I first came here and got retired or got out of the Marines, I was with I'd go swim down at the Los Baños pool. And Russ was head of the recreation department at that time. And he also was in charge of the baseball, the softball, and that was at Laguna Park. Does anybody remember Laguna Park?
No.
It's where the water department is now.
These names are a little too much
That was
for
a
us. Yeah, but BB probably remembers.
You're asking for it.
That's how far back in the city recreation department we go. I played ping pong and basketball in the recreation center there on Carrillo, and that's how far back we go.
Well, thank you so much, and we're so lucky to have
We
you.
really
And have
appreciate
a
it.
wonderful,
Thank
wonderful
you so
trip.
much.
If I was a little younger, I might apply for the job.
Good for you. Thank you. Okay. Commissioner Committee and Assignment Reports. Mr. Chair, no, I said Chair, Co-Chair Longstreet.
I attended the Creeks Advisory Committee this month, and we had a field trip, and I just want to say it was a very exciting field trip. They're looking at the modeling program for the Steelhead Trout Passage up Mission Creek, and it looks like there's a very good design, and this could be happening in the future, and it was a wonderful and exciting field trip. Or site visit, I guess we call it. And last night, I did attend the council meeting regarding the UUT tax ordinance that's going to be on the ballot in November, and it should be before our commission for information in the near future, and this is a really very important funding source for our commission and the general fund, all general fund departments. So we will all be, I think, needing to get out and help educate the public on what that money is used for. So we'll look forward to some future information.
Thank you. Commissioner Forcell, anything?
No, taking it easy during the summer.
Oh, wonderful. Glad to hear that. Okay, our next item, commission and staff communications. Ms. Zachary, anything from staff?
The only thing that I would mention to the commission is that City Council, it's not in your packet, did approve the changes to the alcohol use permit at the Davis Center and the Lawn Bowls Club yesterday.
Thank you very much. Also, speaking of field trips and site visits, I was wondering if maybe the commission's pleasure might be to go on a site visit. We haven't done one for a while. Any suggestions? Maybe an open space site visit to see how things are going? Something along those lines?
I think with Douglas Family Preserve, I know there's just been a couple of planting projects completed that would be good for us to see.
Okay, great. And so what I'll do...
Possibly Shoreline Park
Right.
area.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go to Shoreline Park.
You can stand on the edge.
We'll be cautious.
So what we can do is suggest maybe perhaps an open space tour, and we'll set something up for the future if Ms. McGill would let us know when might be some options. Yeah, and possibly August. Okay. Sounds wonderful. Thank you. Okay. Approval of minutes. The commission waived the reading and approved the minutes of the regular meeting. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Okay. Street trees. Okay, approving the following street tree removal request. Welcome, Mr. Downey, and we'll start with item A1, which is 100 Barranca Avenue. Mr. Downey.
Chair Connor, Commission members, if it pleases you, I'd like to cover item B1 with A1. It's the same property, two separate trees.
That would be fine.
This property, the address is on Barranca, but the trees in question are on Shoreline Drive. Both trees are poorly structured. The proposed landscape plan tends to provide a large amount of shade for the sidewalk. There are problems with the street tree in that it's difficult for people to maneuver around it. It takes up the entire sidewalk. And we feel that by removing these trees and going with the proposed landscape plan to provide 6 trees in the setback, it would do a better service for that area. For those reasons, we recommend you approve these on the condition that the 6 setback trees be planted.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the commission?
Any speakers?
No speakers.
Speaker is for 3C2.
Okay. Commissioner Longstreet?
The plan that we got appears to be so much more lush. It seems to be a definite benefit to the community. And I would move we accept the street tree recommendations on 3A1 and B1.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Item number A2, 525 West Los Olivos. Mr. Downey?
Chair Connor, Commission members, the tree in question is a large California sycamore. The trunk leans over the driveway apron, so it's difficult to get into the driveway. There's a large hollow in the trunk that goes for several feet up. The entire tree leans towards the adjacent property. The Street Advisory Committee and staff recommend, due to the potential for danger of this tree to fall, this tree removal be approved. In addition to that, staff would plan to replant with the same species.
Commissioners, any questions or comments? I would need a motion.
Move to approve number 3A2.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Item number B2, 647 Sea Ranch Drive. Mr. Downey?
Chair Connor and Commissioners, the trees are located in a raised planter adjacent to the roadway. The planter has been pushed apart by the growth of the trees. In fact, the size of the trunks exceeds the size of the planter currently. The condition of that planter can only get worse as the trees mature. The Street Advisory Committee and staff recommend you approve the removal because there isn't adequate space for those trees.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Then in that case, I need a motion.
Move to concur with staff recommendations on 3B2.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Item number 3B3, 2233 Stanwood Drive. Mr. Downey.
Chair Connor and Commissioners, this property is in plans of changing their driveway and the actual address of the property. They're attempting to add a driveway entrance on the Orizaba Lane side. This request came as a function of that new driveway. They would need to remove 3 of the trees. In addition to those 3 trees, there are 2 trees that are in severely poor health. One is dead. That encompasses the 5 on their application. On the site visit, the Street Advisory Committee noted that there are 25 other trees that have all been topped to about 2 feet tall and allowed to grow back. These branches are weakly attached adjacent to the public roadway, and the likelihood that those branches will fall in the roadway is high. The other issue with these trees is since they're eucalyptus and it's in a high fire zone, the eucalyptus is one of the species that's not recommended for the high fire zone. The Street Advisory Committee recommends that you approve these removals on the condition that the additional 25 other trees be removed as well and be replaced with more appropriate plants with consideration for the list of trees the fire department puts out that is plants not to plant in a high fire zone.
Any questions or comments? Okay, in that case, could I have a motion for B3, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Item number B4, 51 Hitchcock Way. Mr. Downey.
Chair Connor, Commissioners, the tree in question is a very large Aleppo pine at the driveway entrance to the parking lot. The roots have uprooted everything around it, including their parking lot, the sidewalk. It threatens the foundation of the neighboring property. No evidence that it has done anything there yet. Their concern was for some of their clients coming in for medical treatment and tripping on, the raised hardscapes. Surrounding this tree is the parking lot, city trees, the sidewalk, an adjacent building, and above are high-voltage Edison lines. The Street Tree Advisory Committee felt that it may be appropriate to approve this removal, but they felt it should not be removed if they didn't repair the damage that the tree is causing, which was the reasons for their request. So they recommend approval of this removal on the condition they show proof of plans or signed permits to repair those hardscape damages.
Okay. Before,
Move to concur with staff recommendations, subject to the applicable requirements that have been imposed by the commission, or by the committee.
okay, second.
Second, I do have a question. This tree, has it ever been trimmed? I mean, it appears to be pretty amazingly wild there for the site.
Chair County Commissioner Longstreet, it appears the tree has been pruned. It's not a variety of tree that requires a lot of pruning maintenance. In addition to any pruning that's been done by the owner, Edison has done some work to clear for the lines, so yes, it has been.
Okay.
And I would like to thank the Street Tree Advisory Committee for their conditioning this time. I think they've come up with some really good and innovative ideas here, and I'll be interested to see how this progresses.
Great. Would that be a second from you?
Yeah, well, I second it.
Oh,
So
okay.
we could have discussion.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Moving on to item 3C, deny the following street tree removal requests. 225 Vista Del Mar Drive. Mr. Downey.
Chair Connor, Commissioners, there are two brush cherry trees, used to be called Eugenia trees, if you're familiar with those. The trees are on each side of the driveway apron. They've lifted the sidewalk and curb and gutters significantly. The reasons were that removal was requested was to danger to the public. I extrapolated that to the hardscape damages. The trees are healthy and in good condition. The Street Tree Advisory Committee and staff recommend that this request be denied because the reasons do not justify the removals. And the other information I would like to share is at such time that the sidewalk and other hardscapes are repaired, these trees will be reevaluated by staff for their safety. So again, we recommend you deny this removal.
Is it in the works to have those sidewalks repaired? Is that?
The sidewalks have been patched, and the street division informs me that once a sidewalk is patched, it gets onto a repair list. I do not know the timing of that.
Okay.
Okay.
I would move that we concur with the Street Tree Advisory Committee recommendation.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Moving to...
And we will have a speaker after Mr. Damian.
Right. Moving to item 1230, item number 2, 1230 Carpinteria Street. Mr. Downey?
Chair Connor and Commissioners, the reasons stated for this request was that other trees were crowded, and they were informed that there may be a split in the tree. Upon our inspection of the tree, we did not see any defects in the tree which would preclude it to be hazardous. The tree is healthy. It's in need of pruning. Based on that information, the Street Tree Advisory Committee and staff recommend you deny the removal because the reasons for removal do not justify the removal.
And we do have a speaker, correct?
Yes. Mr. Emmerich?
If you'd like to come forward. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Connor, Commissioners, Mr. Downey. We've talked on the phone. I appreciate your input.
If you could just move your mic up a tad. There we go. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to read from something I've written here, just so I don't get confused and wander off. To the best of my knowledge, the trees for Melaleucas haven't been trimmed since 1990. The only trimming that's been done really is by the wind, and it knocks branches down. And in fact, the big windstorm we had maybe 10 years ago blew a significantly large piece off the tree through my roof. I mean, it crashed through not just the tile on the roof, the asbestos tile, but through the 3/4-inch plywood also. So, and just recently another one fell on the sidewalk, and I got out there and trimmed it up and left it laying in the street, but, in pieces so it could be picked up. The large Melaleuca tree, which was crowding the Canary Island date palm, I've since trimmed the Canary Island date palm again, since I know that's on my property, and I wasn't aware that the Melaleucas were not on my property until we discussed that and the definitions of it. So I was worried about the liability of the trees falling, since they've already come into my house and fallen on the sidewalk. There's a neighbor that parks a car there frequently, and a lot of people walk in the sidewalk all day and all evening. So I was worried about my liability, but Mr. Downey said that all the Melaleucas belong to the city and I have no liability. So part of my reasoning for evaluating the one tree and possibly removing it has kind of disappeared. And it's not so much crowding now that I've trimmed the palm tree. It's about a 50-foot, I'm guessing, Canary Island date palm. And now the head is above the Melaleuca. But they're all kind of crowding in there. The big Melaleuca has moved the sidewalk, and it has been patched by the city. But it's going to be an ongoing process where the sidewalk moves and gets patched, the sidewalk moves and gets patched. So there is some concern there that the people walking on the street, little kids, old adults, are going to have a problem with tripping on that area. I do understand the city's reasoning behind not removing trees, but in my particular block, there are 4 Melaleucas all gathered in one little group, and it's kind of unsightly and not a really pleasing appearance to look at. The other thing is, maybe it would be better if the city would trim the trees periodically, like once every 5 years maybe. But right now, the big one has a lot of branches hanging down, almost to interfere with people on the sidewalk, and certainly with people driving on Canada trying to cross the busy street at Carpinteria there. So if they could trim the trees up a little bit in a timely manner, that would be greatly appreciated and relieve some of my concerns.
Thank you. I have a question, Mr. Downey. Is that the designated street tree for that neighborhood?
I'm sorry, I don't have that information. There are a lot of that species in that block, so it is likely the designated species. In response to Mr. Emmerich's comment, we do plan to have the tree, all 4 of them, trimmed in the near future.
Okay, great. Any commissioner questions or comments at this time?
No, I think we've answered
Okay, could I?
questions.
I just have one additional comment, if I may. There have been, I think, at least 4 large Melaleucas taken off, cut down, and removed from the first 2 blocks, or the first and second block off of Milpas on Carpinteria Street, because they were raising the sidewalk, and I think some of them were splitting, or they've been topped out pretty severely. This one is going that way eventually, but probably not in my lifetime, but, it's going to be a problem pretty soon.
Okay, thank you for that information. Okay, could I have a motion?
I will move to support the street tree advisory recommendation.
And a second? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Now we are going to take item number 7. Ms. Zachary?
Chair Connor and members of the commission, Kathy Fry, our natural areas planner, is going to do today's presentation. Ms. Fry is the project manager for this project, so she's intimately familiar with what you will be learning about. The commission might remember that this project's been on our capital program for a number of years. You've seen it conceptually some time ago. With Kathy's arrival at the department, it's been one of a priority to move it forward, and we're happy to present to you the design for the project so that we can move forward with construction in the next fiscal year. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Fry.
Good evening, Chair Connor and Commissioners. The Parma Park Stanwood Staging Area project is located within Parma Park, which is an open space park that's located on Stanwood Drive, which is on Highway 192, just east of the Sheffield Reservoir. The park's about 200 acres, and in 1973, the property was deeded to the city by the Parma family, and it was to be used for undeveloped parkland. The park has a diversity of native habitats and also a diversity of users, including people on foot, people on bike, and bike traffic is restricted to the fire access road or the ridge trail, and people on horses, and the preliminary design for the project has been completed. It's also been under review with the Architectural Board of Review and the Historic Landmark Commission. We anticipate final design in the summer of 2008, and we anticipate construction in the fall, approximately October. So we're moving ahead with quite quickly with this. The purpose of the project is to improve the park entry access at Stanwood Drive. There currently is access. Will also enhance the existing staging area for equestrian group rides and provide signage, and I will give you a little more information as we go through those components. The components are a staging or parking area, a picnic area, 2 gates, and an entry road. There currently is a staging or parking area for trucks and trailers, and what the project will do will be to allow truck and trailer with horses to pull into the staging area, circle around, drop off horses, and for 3 truck and trailer combinations to park within that area. Currently, they need to pull forward and back up in order to access the area and then exit. There will also be 1 ADA or handicap vehicle space, and currently the configuration is native soil with wood chip surface. It will be that in the future, although it will be evened out and it will be more level for the vehicles to access through there. Changes to the picnic area include a handicap accessible drinking fountain and a handicap accessible picnic table. Those amenities are there now. We'll just change out the existing drinking fountain and one of the picnic tables that's there. We will include with the project a bulletin board that in the future we will include interpretive signage such as cultural information about the Parma family and about the general area, biological resources, and probably a map of the area illustrating the other entrances to the park and the trails within the park. This is a view from the picnic area right here to the staging area, which will be out in this area, and the entrance comes from here. This is where the truck and trailer will be able to pull around. This is the horse trough, existing horse trough, and horse tie-ups in the corner there. There's my cursor, and horse tie-ups here. This is the fire road that goes to the north, and actually this configuration is looking towards the north. Whoops, here we go. The park gates are another component of the project. The new entry gate replaces the swing gate that's there right now on Stanwood. It'll be 30 feet north of the existing entry, and it will be made of stone and wood. And here is the existing gate at the bottom, and this is Stanwood right here. This gate, the new gate, the proposed gate, will move up approximately where you see this sign here. And by doing that, it'll allow a horse and truck trailer to pull in there, open the gate, and close it behind them while they're off of Stanwood Drive. We'll also be replacing a chain gate with the swing gate at the northern portion of the project area. The entry road off of Stanwood into the park will be, have some minor road repairs, including filling in some potholes on the upper portion of the road and doing an asphalt overlay. We're also going to include a small swale, there's my cursor again, a small swale in this area to take drainage off of the road and put it into an existing culvert that currently ties into Sycamore Creek. The project includes enhancement to riparian habitat along Sycamore Creek. We are going to be removing an old chicken coop, a dilapidated chicken coop in the project area behind the picnic area. And to fill in that area, we'll be planting some native plants that are found within the park. We'll be collecting plants there and having them grown, and we'll be replanting them there. We also anticipate losing approximately one plant of Santa Barbara honeysuckle, which is a locally rare plant that has been recognized by the California Native Plant Society. So we will also be collecting seeds of that plant and replanting it at a ratio of about 10-to-1 within the park. Should be a nice entryway. We'll be planting that along the entryway. We will also include a tree protection plan during construction. And there are several sycamore, oaks, and willows on the property that will be protected. And we will abide by the Migratory Bird Treaty Act in the event that we go to construction. If it's delayed into the winter season, that's when this would come into effect. We'll also give instructions to the contractor regarding the potential for archaeological resources in the site. Although we don't anticipate them, we'll include that guidance for them. The project design and construction is estimated at $365,500, and the Parma Park Trust provides funds for special projects such as this project and for repair and maintenance of the Parma Park. Our schedule, as I stated before, we look forward to having our final plans this summer. That's coming right up in July and August. And we'll go into the bidding and contract phase directly after that with the plans to have construction from October through December of this year. In addition to the special projects, the Parks Division also includes work to provide an annual work plan, which the trustee reviews with us and has approved for the next 2 years. And the work that we have been working on this past year and also will be working on in '09 include vegetative fuels work, trail maintenance, signage, non-native vegetation eradication, and our budget for fiscal year '08 was $99,000, and for coming year is $40,000. That includes our update for today, and possibly you'd like to visit this park on your open space tour.
Yeah.
Great idea. Commissioners?
Yeah.
Yes.
First, I went about 3 weeks ago up there hiking, and I was actually surprised that construction hadn't begun, so I'm glad to see that we're finally getting there, because I thought it would be at least part of the way through. And incidentally, you know, about the signage, and we talked about it with Front Country Trails and all, there were two women on horses riding, and we stepped way to the side and let them go by, as is the appropriate thing to do. They were very surprised, and I said, no, horses always have, over bikes, over hikers, always have the right-of-way. They were kind of surprised. So here's a place where signage will be helpful. And, you know, the problem always with Parma is, of course, the parking. You know, you're out there on Stanwood, and there's like 4 or 5 spaces. It's better than it was 10 or 15 years ago. But it's still, if more than 4 cars pull up in one, it's still troublesome. So I know we've talked about this in the past, but I just want to clarify. When we create the turnaround for dropping your horses off and trailering them and stuff, how are we going to be able to get very many spaces in there for parking other than for horse trailers?
Commissioner Forcell, this park, this open space park is normally locked. The staging area will be for events that occur about 6 times a year, and it will be when multiple trailers, truck and trailer, come to use the park. It'll allow 3 of those to come in. Otherwise, people in the area park on the outside, such as you stated, but they do have access because there is a step-over gate at the entry gate. So you can either walk in as a hiker or walk in as an equestrian user.
I was afraid you were going to say that. I'm saying the same thing I said a year ago and 2 years ago on this. I'm just in hopes that we were going to create some parking spaces for people that aren't within walking distance of it. But I see that ship has sailed. Why is Mr. Fisher here? Is he here for this item? Listening. Oh, just listening. Well, thank you for moving him up from the bottom of the agenda there. I know his time is valuable, and I know that because he's my attorney, so I know what he charges per hour. So I'm glad we moved him up, and we're not going to waste a lot of his time.
Thank you, Commissioner Forcell. Commissioner Longstreet, any?
I'm just glad to see this project moving forward. I think it would be great to go in August and have a little before shot and an after shot. I was also glad to see it's been through its other design review boards and is actually in the works. So, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you for your report, and we will let Ms. Rapp know that we'd love to go to Palmer Park in August. That'd be great. Thank you.
Chair Connor?
Yes.
And Commissioners, if I could just add quickly, the challenge with Parma Park is that there isn't a lot of parking. However, this project's really geared towards the equestrian user. At the same time, it will enhance the experience for the hiker that goes in there as well. It's largely used by people that reside in the area. There are a couple of other locations where people can walk into Parma Park off Mountain Road, for example. So there are a couple of other entrances. One of the things that we hope to do is, clarify those other entrances so that people know that there's more than one way to get in the park through the signage that we have.
It's true, however, Joe, the parking is not very good from Mountain either if you want to walk that direction.
And we understand that as well. And lastly, I just wanted to acknowledge the Parks Division because they really do organize and undertake maintenance through contracting, and then also our own staff are out there doing work on a regular basis so that those trails are hikeable and that we deal with the vegetative fuels issues that we have up there. It'd be perfect time to go for a site visit, I think.
Thank you, and duly noted. Okay, back to item number 4, update on concerts in the park and 4th of July events. Ms. Zachary?
Chair Connor, members of the Commission, Judith McCaffrey, our Recreation Programs Manager, will be doing this presentation.
Wow, this is the inauguration of the new name.
Yes, well, good afternoon, Chair Connor and Commissioners. Thank you, Ms. Zachary. I got my new married name correct. I have to say I'm still about 50% at this point, so if I refer to myself as Judith Cook, you'll understand. I'm here to tell you about some exciting city events that are coming up very soon. Next week, the city will kick off an exciting season of summer concerts in the park, and we'll also celebrate the 4th of July with a Celebration Freedom event and a fireworks show. I want to give you a little update. Next Thursday night, it's going to be a great weekend, by the way, with the holiday on Friday, and we're going to kick it that whole weekend off Thursday night on July 3rd at Chase Palm Park. Our opening act is Maria Mulder. And for those of you that remember Maria,
so disappointed.
she had a huge, her smash hit was in 1972, Midnight at the Oasis, but actually she's had quite a celebrated career since then, garnering 2 Grammy nominations in 2001 and 2005. So she and her Red Hot Bluesiana band are going to open the series next week. We're really excited, so we encourage everyone to come out to Chase Palm Park at 6 p.m. For the total season, we'll have 11 concerts. That's the 7 Thursdays at Chase Palm Park. And then again, we're offering 4 Sunday afternoons at Alameda Park. All the concerts are free to the public. And so we encourage everyone to come out and enjoy our beautiful parks this summer. just to give you a little highlight of some of the performers we have coming this summer. It's sure to please everyone. We're featuring, of course, Santa Barbara's favorite dance band, the Soul City Survivors, a great honky-tonk country group, Coldwater Canyon. And you know, it's funny, because people tell me they don't like country music, but last year I had a country group, and I encouraged people to come. Come on, you'll like it, you'll like it. This particular group ended up playing 45 minutes after the show normally ends, and we still had 3/4 of the crowd still there dancing. So I invite you to keep an open mind and come out and enjoy some country music. Lisa Haley and the Zyda Cats will come back again this year. Lisa is a 4th-generation fiddleist, and she's extremely talented. So we'll be welcoming her back to Chase Palm Park, as well as Raymond Michael.
Elvis.
Yes, Elvis is back in Santa Barbara. And, of course, always the favorite every summer is Captain Cardiac and the Coronaries. We also have another highlight in August. We'll be bringing a Hawaiian singer from Hana, Hawaii, to treat us to some wonderful falsetto Hawaiian music. And he'll also be bringing some troops of hula dancers. So we'll be having a Hawaiian show the Thursday following Fiesta. So come on out and join us. And next I'll tell you a little bit about 4th of July, which is Friday. City staff from a number of different departments, Parks and Recreation, Waterfront, Police, Fire, Harbor Patrol, and Public Works have been working very closely together with volunteers from the Sparkle organization to provide a really wonderful, safe, and exciting, fun program for the 4th of July down on West Beach. The entertainment, musical entertainment provided by Sparkle will begin at 7 o'clock. So I encourage everyone to go down. They've got several groups playing. 9:30, we'll have a wonderful fireworks spectacular by Pyro Spectaculars. And earlier in the day, we invite people to come down, enjoy. They'll have arts and crafts vendors, food, beverages, lots of fun. So it should be a really great day. We encourage the public to use, there's a lot of public transportation available that day. Check the MTD schedules. They will have shuttles because I know parking's always a challenge. But we're looking forward to a really spectacular, great day. So we look forward to seeing everyone down at West Beach. And some more, if the public would like some more information, they can contact our office at 897-1982 or visit the Parks and Recreation website, www.sbparksandrecreation.com. And there we have information about the 4th of July events and the concert schedule.
Great. Commissioner Longstreet.
Looks like another very fun summer. I think those are some of the great family events. They're free to everyone. It's super time to be out. It really feels like community when down in the park on Thursday evenings.
Great lineup, by the way. Very good. Thank you. Item number 5, Youth Employment Coordination. Ms. Zachary.
Chair Connor, members of the Commission, Antonio Velasquez will give this presentation.
Welcome, Antonio.
Thank you. Chairperson Connor, congratulations for your chairpersonship.
Oh, thank you.
Commissioner.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah, they made me wait.
Well, after the projection for the fund that Santa Barbara is going to have, I'm going to give a report on the employment for young people in Santa Barbara. It entails the department getting involved in coordinating some employment opportunities that are going to be made available for young people this summer. As you know, the Park and Recreation Department has been actively involved in the Community-Based Strategic Planning Committee on Youth Violence. That came about, of course, at the beginning of the year due to quite a few activities that were not necessarily giving Santa Barbara a positive image. The committee has been meeting since then and has been developing both short and long-range plans to deal with providing services to young people. It is composed of the city and county schools, probation, law enforcement, nonprofit youth serving agencies and foundations. There is one subcommittee that has been working on the short-term goals for this long-term planning that entails support for youth and employment. And since we're already in summer, we have a very short timeline to get this project going. Both the short and long-term planning of this committee has prioritized employment as one of the top priorities, and it's obvious why. So we have found out during these particular meetings of this committee that there was a lot of youth-serving agencies, a lot of employment programs out there, but there is no coordination of these programs. There's also a very real interest in the business community to assist in this effort, but again, there is no coordination, central location to make these contacts. So the City of Santa Barbara is proposing, along with community centers and community services, to provide the coordination for this particular effort. To ensure the greatest success of this job training programs over the next several months, the Park and Recreation Department is proposing to coordinate this effort along a 7-point program. And let me please enumerate these for you. One, we propose to develop an inventory of the local agencies offering youth job training and placement programs, identifying the unique components of each program and contact persons. We'll establish a communication network with the appropriate staff within each of those participating agencies. 3, we will identify an outreach to the community, both programs and agencies working with our youth community, and provide information on the local youth job training programs, assisting with referrals to the appropriate job program. 4, to work with the local business community, with companies and agencies to cultivate jobs and internship opportunities. 5, to link youth to those job opportunities and services by making appropriate referrals to those job providers. 6, create an identity for the youth job service and promote public awareness so that people can have a one-stop number they can call for this service rather than to be out searching with the various different agencies. And 7, to develop a web-based resource in which agencies and the community can access for information on programs and referrals. Since the department has a 30-year history in this area, and I'm happy to say that as last year, again this year, our staff did a fantastic job of going out to recruit young people the first day out of school, to have them ready to go for interviews tomorrow. Within city departments, we have identified already 20 positions, of which we have 20 young people that will be going out to interview for them. So hats off to our young people that have done a great job in coordinate this activity, and I'm sure that they will do a great job in assisting this particular effort. This effort will be coordinated through community services. I will be supervising the program, but we will be redirecting the time of our Lower West Side coordinator position, which we were lucky that we have had a vacancy that we've recruited and interviewed for and have made a tentative appointment of a person that has the experience in this area, has worked within the system and probation as well as with job training programs, so he's had extensive experience in this area, so we've been very lucky. To ensure that, obviously, the Lower West Side is not neglected in this period of time, which we are projecting to be about 9 months or so, is the city administrator has made $10,000 available to keep the activities going at the Lower West Side Center for the summer and past that. We will evaluate at mid-year to see if, in fact, this is a service that the city should or even wants to continue providing, or whether it should be a service that we then hand off to an appropriate agency out in the community. And I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Velasquez. Any questions from the Commission? Commissioner Longstreet?
Pretty thorough.
Yeah. I'm happy to hear the city's identified 20 jobs within our structure, because I do think the city has led in that area of providing jobs. So you'll have your new employee will then be mentoring like you have in the past on these programs, where you can help the kids through the whole process and all of that. You have enough staff for that, I guess, is what I'm asking.
What we are going to do is basically create a network of the resources and be able to provide the linkages to link the young people with the job opportunities. We won't be going in depth in terms of making any types of preparations per se. We will provide the basic to allow them to be able to go through a process of employment, the primary steps of going to interview. But we will not be doing the preparation. We will be identifying those agencies that provide those services.
Okay. And this must be your new staff person?
Pete Leyva is our individual that we have tentatively made an offer to, and we're just waiting on the paperwork.
Okay. The one thing I would say about the Lower West Side, I understand a lot of his time would be taken up with youth employment, but even having that activity happening in and around the center and all the things that happen, I think makes it more vital. And that's a perfectly appropriate activity for happening down there, since it's such a constricted site as far as recreational activities and things. But I would welcome having the kids come through of that age group, too, in the neighborhood. So I'm your neighbor. So thank you, and we look forward to hearing at the end of the summer how everybody did. And last year it was great to go out to the project that the kids worked on through Parks and Recreation. That was really neat to see, so thank you.
I just had a brief question. Where is the office housed?
The office, Chairperson Connors, the office will be a movable office.
Okay.
Obviously, there's going to be times at the Lower West Side Center, there's going to be some structured activities that are going to be fairly chaotic, and I'm sure that you know that our small center there, when you have 40 kids and any kind of activity, you're going to have very, not chaotic situation in a negative sense, but, in a good sense, a lot of kid participation. So in those times of scheduled activities, we have other facilities where we'll be able to accommodate.
Okay, good to know it's mobile. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, and nice to meet you, Peter.
Thanks a lot.
Ms. Zachary, any comments?
Just briefly, Chair Connor, members of the commission, the youth apprentices that have been identified in the Creeks Division will be working on creek restoration projects. And then we also will have youth apprentices working with our forestry staff, working on a tree planting program, and then also working with our park staff and doing some work at Alice Keck Park this summer. So we've identified very specific projects that we want these youth to work on with us that will really bring enhancement to both our creeks and our parks this summer.
Thank you. Item number 5, item number 6, oops, moving right along. Dwight Murphy Park improvements, our last item at 5 o'clock. I am so surprised.
30 seconds. 30 seconds, Santos.
You got it. I'll do it.
Welcome. Dwight Murphy Park improvements. Let's hear.
Well, good afternoon, Chair Connor and Commissioners. I'm very happy to be here to talk about our Dwight Murphy ball field improvements. It's been a long-awaited improvements, and I'm going to show you 3 things that we've done this past fiscal year, and I'm very excited because these upgrades haven't been done in the past 15 years for a playground, over 30 years for a fencing. This is entering the Dwight Murphy ball field. Actually, Dwight Murphy ball field not only is used for our Central Coast soccer on Sundays, we also have our youth softball, adult softball. We have an exercise yard. We have a playground there. Also in the summer, it's used by our zoo camp and our other youth camps that use it quite frequently. We've had nothing but positive folks calling me, thanking us for all the upgrades that we've done. We've had naturally an extreme makeover. We've completed these projects in FY08, as I stated. The cost was $221,000. The improvements not only included brand new fencing, but concrete mow strips at our soccer fields, a new playground, and new turf that we installed. This is what I'm talking about regarding old fencing. You can tell in this photo it's worn, dilapidated. Even myself, I can recall going through and changing this fencing and flipping it over to get as much life as we could because we had no funding to replace it. So here we go with the fencing installation. As you can tell, we're putting in fence posts. We had over 161 fence posts installed, and also a concrete road strip completed at the soccer field. And here we are going through and pouring the concrete. New fencing, we had approximately 1,965 linear feet of chain link fencing. This was paid out of our Prop 12 funds. $99,956 was the cost for that. This fencing project also included fencing at the softball field, also the exercise yard and the playground. Here we have an old playground. It looks pretty nice in this photo here, but actually it's worn, which you really can't tell from this photo. And here you can tell we've removed the playground. It's nothing but an empty pit with brand new fencing surrounding it. Here's a brand new playground installation and the playground itself. Here, as you can tell, this playground, believe it or not, there's two pits here, and one is for 2 to 5-year-olds on the far end, and the one closest is for 5 to 12, and it's also got this nice little climber that we added as an extra, and it's quite popular if you go down and check it out. And the bottom portion of it is just a rubberized surface that we use. We removed all the sand, and we put in this brand new pour and play rubberized surface to make maintenance much easier for our park staff. And here's the gentleman installing it, just so you could see what it truly looks like. We're just colorizing it, and the playground here, as you can tell in this photo, it's a combination of two different colors to separate the age group between the 2 to 5 and 5 to 12. And these kids are having a lot of fun. And here's our soccer field, and we ended up replacing 6,000 square feet of sod at this soccer field. And naturally, the worn-out areas are normally the center of the field and the goalpost areas. And here we are working gingerly to do this work. And I'd like at this time to thank Jeff Smith and Mark Roush for working with Central Coast to get the funding for the sod that Central Coast Soccer to go through and donate to us. And here we are, continuing to work very diligently to make this thing happen. And the sod is taken off. We've also went through within the entire soccer field and reseeded it and overlaid it with amendments. And here's the results as of a couple days ago. So we're getting good results, and we'll be ready to open this up and get ready for play in the next few weeks. So that concludes my presentation. If you have any other questions, here to...
Commissioner Longstreet.
Yeah, I'd just say this is a classic park of, just so loved, so overused, and not in a bad way, not abused, but just used within an inch of its life. And it's so nice to be able to refurbish it and do what you've done to it. It's a good for the community.
Why don't we go by there on our bus tour?
Okay, we'll add that, but I have been by and it looks fabulous.
Thank
Really
you.
does. Very good. We'll add that to our tour.
Add that to the tour.
There's a new playground structure also in Oak Park, right?
That's correct. We actually have a 2 to 5 playground that should be open at the end of the week. And then we're also going to be installing another playground in Oak Park, because Oak Park has 2 playgrounds. That's a 5 to 12 structure that was removed today. And we're getting ready for the contractor to come through and install that in the next couple of weeks.
Great. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Very good job. Well, I guess I'm going to call for a motion for adjournment.
Move for adjournment.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.